Alright, let's rock and roll. Today I'm doing a review of the Back to the Future 25th anniversary Blu-ray trilogy. Just take a look at this case real quick. Have a little opening, all shiny. And then it slides out with the case. And this is one of those weird cases they're doing kind of on the Blu-ray sets. And they're a little annoying. It's kind of like a trifold. And the annoying thing is, these discs are hard to get out, but I found that if you just kind of bend them, they come in and out pretty easily. They're annoying. I have the Office Season 6 Blu-ray, and it's the same way. But there you go. You got your DVD and digital copy and Blu-ray of each. And you have a little piece of foam, protect them, I guess. And instructions on how to insert and exit. I don't know what I'm saying. How to insert and take out the discs, and I don't know, a little digital copy thing. But that's the case. I really don't care for these cases, and from what I've kind of heard other people say, they're annoying because you feel like you're gonna break the discs whenever you're taking them out. But with a little practice, they work okay. So, first of all, let's talk about the movies. If you haven't seen these movies, there's definitely something wrong with you. It's probably the greatest trilogy ever made, starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. And pretty much the movie takes place in, the first movie takes place in 1985. And they go on a time machine back to 1955, and then they screw up the timeline. And so they have to fix it before he can come back. Okay. It was just Michael J. Fox went back in time, and then he meets Christopher Lloyd's character in 1955. And then Michael J. Fox kind of screws things up with his parents, and he's got to get them back together or he'll never be born. So that all happens, and they kind of just keep this thing throughout the trilogy of the same characters. You know, you have the Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown, and then you have him in the past. And the Michael J. Fox and his dad, you know, you have him in the past, and present, and the future, and then way in the past in the third one. And so, anyways, in the first one, he has to fix everything before he can come back to 1985, or he won't exist. And so, you know, he has to. There's a lot of really strange ideas, kind of his mom falling in love with him, and obviously it works out in the end. And then the second one, I'm trying to think, the second one, they go to the future, and Michael J. Fox buys this book with all these results from sporting events, but then the bad guy in all the movies, Biff, gets it, and he goes back to 1955 and gives it to himself, and then he becomes rich, and it just screws up everything in 1985. So then they realize they have to go back to 1955 and stop Biff from, well, they can't stop Biff, they have to get the book back from the old Biff. It gets a little confusing at that point, but pretty much they had to reshoot everything from the first movie, because now you have two Marty McFlys in the same scenes, and, you know, they can't interact, though, because it could cause paradox. But then you have him going through all these things that happened in the first movie, trying to stop it, and it was really good. And then eventually in the third one, I don't think makes as much sense, but somebody really wanted to do a western, so they go back to 1855, or 1885, I think, actually. So there's always these 55s and 85s in there for some reason, and the beginning of the town, you know, and then you have the principal is the marshal, and you have Biff as an outlaw, and, you know, the doc is back there because it was an accident that caused him to go back there, and so Marty goes back there to bring him back. And the end of the trilogy is okay. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though, just because he creates this time machine out of a train in the year 1885, and you're like, well, how could he ever have enough time to make that? Even if at some point he traveled into the future, he's already an old guy. You know, I mean, he's not like super old, but with the amount of time it would take him, you think he would die before he would finish it. So that's my take on the ending of the trilogy. All these movies are fantastic, and I love them all. and on Blu-ray they look superb. I actually had the DVD collection when it originally came out in full screen, and I compared them several times back and forth, light and dark, and the dark scenes are still pretty grainy on here. They're not quite as bad, but still grainy. You know, they have a lot of hard time in the dark, but I was surprised really how good the DVD looked on an upscale TV, you know, on a Blu-ray player, upscaled through HDMI, and it looked pretty good really. But when I compared it to this back and forth, this one was bigger and closer up, and so it just seemed so much bigger, and the colors were a tiny bit better actually. I thought they would look better. When I first saw this, I was like, wow, these colors are amazing, but I haven't ever watched the DVD trilogy on the nice TV I have, so but the colors did look better. And then I noticed it was more detailed, obviously because of the higher resolution, but if you didn't look closely you wouldn't notice that it wasn't more detailed. There was one scene where they're in the cafe back in 1955, and on the DVD it was a little blurry, you know, not too bad, but then when I watched it on the Blu-ray I could see there was this little hair just hanging off Michael J. Fox's chin, and I was like, hey, I couldn't see that on the DVD. I went back and I couldn't see it. So I mean, there is just a little bit more detail, you know, with the finer resolution. This when it came out, I really wanted to get it, but it ran $60, I think, new, and I really didn't see it on special for a while. And then Amazon had a deal for $25, and you get free ship. Well, they do $24.99, so you can't get free shipping. But I bought something else to give me the free shipping. So, but then the next week I saw it on regular price at Target for $20. I was like, oh man. And the next week Target had it on sale for $15. But I mean, $25 is a great deal for this. You get 3 Blu-rays, and they're really great movies. And you know, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely watch it. And if you've seen it, you probably have it. So let me know what you think of the trilogy, though. And if you bought the Blu-ray collection, let me know what you think, especially if you've seen the DVD collection. See how much better you thought it was. And let me know what you think of this review. Thanks for watching.